Well, I am here in downtown Albuquerque, and I'm here to share a really important piece of New Mexico and Albuquerque's story with all of you today, and that is the history of Grant Chapel AME Church, which is the oldest Black church in the state of New Mexico, which was established right here in this neighborhood on this block in 1882. Now, for those of you that know your New Mexico history, the trains arrived here in Albuquerque in 1880. And so the establishment of this church, which happened right here on this corner in 1882, was an important part of the history of our state and also of the Black community. That church continues today, and we want to share the history of how that church grew, how it's nurtured generations of our community here in New Mexico, how it was at the heart of the civil rights movement in the 50s and 60s, and how it continues to help serve the community and the souls and the spirits of the people of New Mexico and Albuquerque. So please join us and enjoy this history.
With it being 1882, and I'm like, wow, I was like, the AME Church had just,
Just
been founded, right?
Yeah.
And here we are. And so, again, you can, read that for yourselves, if you will. But when they first came here, it was mainly about the people that were coming to settle here, because New Mexico wasn't even a state. It was a territory at that time.
Well, it looks like you have some historic pictures. Should we begin
I
at the
do.
beginning?
Well, this is a picture that I found, and this we believed is to be the first church here. Why don't you pass it around?
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. Yeah, the Colored Methodist Mission. Yes. Yeah, my research shows First Street.
Yeah, First Street looked like it was kind of over by the old Alvarado train station, and then they moved eventually to Third and Cole. But I did find this on the New Mexico archives. So this was William Slaughter.
Awesome.
He was one of the co-founders.
Yes.
He and his wife lived in Santa Fe with their two kids, but they formed the first religious organization that established the AME
Right.
in New Mexico.
Right, so
with the other two.
And then here we have a listing of all of the pastors. It again is our founder here, Richard Allen, who founded the AME Church, and it's always been about liberation.
I was interested because this church has physically moved several times.
Yes.
It was originally downtown Albuquerque.
Correct.
And the previous pastor, the first time I came here, told me that the location that it was at for many, many years on Third and Cole, that they had specifically built the church there because they wanted it to be on the edge of town as people came into town, so they knew they had a safe place to go.
Okay.
And 4th Street was originally the highway into town, so it was just a block off the highway.
Yeah.
And so you knew where to go when you came into town. And apparently this church, because of the central location, there was a lot of not only settlers and homesteaders coming out at
Yes.
that time, but there were Buffalo soldiers who were being stationed out here.
That is correct.
Yeah, and this church was apparently ministering to a lot of the soldiers as they were in transit.
And their families.
Yeah,
Yes.
and they would stay at the church, and so it was like a major hub in the state.
This one I found also, and this is part of Grant. I think this is the groundbreaking, I believe, of the church that was over on Arno
Oh, okay. Oh,
and Santa
yeah.
Fe.
Wow.
Now, many
oh, yeah,
of the-
look. Is that the cornerstone that's in
Yes.
there? Oh, that's so
It
cool.
may be. It may be.
It looks like it is.
Now, I believe the picture in the entryway is when they were building this church. Did you see that?
Yes, I
Yeah.
showed them.
We
Yes.
did.
I put that there some time ago, and that was, I believe that was when they were doing this church.
They were all kind of, I think that was kind of like a central spot to put churches at
That's
the
right,
time.
that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's I think 3 churches on that same block.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's Shiloh.
Very close.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's Shiloh Baptist Church, Shiloh Missionary Baptist Church, I think. And then Phillips Chapel,
Yes.
CME Church,
CME.
and the Macedonia Baptist
Macedonia.
Church. They're all like on the same like block.
The history of this church as a congregation was also very deeply involved in the civil rights movement here in New Mexico, and that the NAACP used to meet at the church and different organizations.
I think it was Reverend Eugene Wynn, who was the pastor when we first started having the NAACP meetings at our church. And it was just the black meeting place of the community. Any organization that wanted to meet, he welcomed them. But NAACP was very, very involved, and it all started at Grant Chapel.
That's amazing. And so that was kind of the time period when also there was lots of organizations and it was a community center.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And also, which is well known, even this coming year, we will be hosting the 30th Martin Luther King Jr. breakfast.
The breakfast was started by members of the lay organization. And it didn't really start to become this big, but I think it started with a few members just deciding to have breakfast together, and then they thought, we could do something with this. And that's how it got started, and it's been a success.
It was told to me by other members that it was Reverend Fortune that said the church had outgrown its space, and that's why they moved up here,
Oh, okay.
because this was going to be a larger facility. And also that more of the members actually lived on this side of town versus the south side.
But I do remember that was 1990
Yes,
when
ma'am.
we moved.
When moved up
Yes.
here. Okay.
Grant Chapel serves not just the black community, but the broader Albuquerque community at large. We have a very diverse membership, just like the city.
Yeah.
And so, we strive to be a church that welcomes everyone. And we do things in decency and in order, as the AME Church was founded, in decency and in order. A lot of the things that were formulated out of Grant Chapel, like the NAACP, the Urban League,
Yes.
the National Council of Negro Women, came out of Grant Chapel. And I was just like, wow, I was like, all of this history that's
It's
here.
just like this heart of it.
Yeah, and so it was an honor, for me to take on this appointment.